Hey everyone, welcome back to Booga Buggie Kids Stories. In today's episode, Booga Buggie builds a wacky weather machine. Let's see what crazy adventures he gets up to. Alright, let's get going. It had been raining for days and days and days. Sometimes to Booga Buggie it felt like it had raining for a whole year. And he was getting so sick of it. He was playing outside a bunch, but he kept getting really wet. And there's only so many puddles that you can jump in before you start to want to do other things, like go to the beach and sit in the sun and play in the sand, or go swimming at the river or lake, or even doing other things in the sun or snow, like tobogganing would be pretty fun. Just anything different than rain, Booga Buggie thought. Well, he had enough, and he was going to do something about it. No more complaining for Booga Buggie. So, he had to create a plan. He got out a notepad and drew some sketches, snuck into Elon's house to grab all the material he needed, and went quickly back to his house in the plum tree. And there he started building, and building, and building. And soon he was finished. Booga Buggie had created a weather machine. And this machine would be able to change the weather to whatever he wanted. So the first thing he wanted to do was bust out the sun and get it nice and warm outside. So he grabbed that machine and turned it 3 spots over, click, 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 to the sunny day mode. And what do you know? The rain immediately stopped, the sun popped out, and it started to get super warm outside. Meanwhile, Elon and Fifer had been playing inside because it was so rainy. But the sun started shining through the windows, and they noticed it was super sunny. So they quickly ran to the garage, grabbed their scooters that they had been waiting to use for such a long time, put on their helmets, and raced down the driveway into the cul-de-sac to go scooting around because it was such a nice day. They were having so much fun in the sun. But by now, Booga Buggie had already done all the fun, sunny things that he needed to do, and he wanted to try something else, because why not? So he grabbed that weather machine, turned it back 2 spots, click, click, to the snow mode. And instantly, the sun was hidden behind a whole bunch of snow clouds, and huge snowflakes started coming down, and it was getting super cold. Elon and Fifer looked around in shock. What's happening? It was just super hot and sunny, and the next second, there's like a foot of snow all around us. So they hopped off their scooters, because scooters don't really work that well in the snow, and they lugged them back to the garage. They ran inside and were pretty excited that it was snowing too, because they had a toboggan to use. So they got all their snow gear on, snow pants and jacket and mitts and toques, ear muffs. Well, Mom and Dad were making hot chocolate so the kids could warm up when they were done. So after they're all bundled up, they grabbed their toboggan, raced to the front yard where there was a little hill to go down, jumped on it, and whee down the hill. But by this time, Booga Buggie had finished all of the fun snow activities that he wanted to do. So he got his weather machine out again and moved it forward 5 spots, click, 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 and changed it to wind mode because he had this brand new kite that he wanted to try out. So literally, as Elon and Fifer were flying down the hill in their toboggan, a huge windstorm came, and it actually blew away all of the snow. So they only made it halfway down the hill, and they were stuck in the grass, and they were almost getting blown over because it was so windy. What's going on? They thought to each other. Well, we're a little too warm right now because of all of our snow gear. Let's go inside and change and maybe we can get out our kites too, because they saw a kite flying in the backyard, so they thought that would be pretty fun. Booga Buggie was having so much fun changing the weather, he thought he'd keep doing it and try something else. He wanted to make rainbows. So he changed it to rain mode, click, 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 and then back to sun mode, click, click. And he kept doing that. Rain mode, sun mode, rain mode, sun mode. And what was amazing is it would start raining and then all of a sudden a rainbow would appear and it would go away again and it would come back and go away and come back. And he thought this was so silly. But Elon and Fifer in the front yard had gotten out their kites, but the wind had stopped and they had gotten drenched from the rain and then dried from the sun. They looked at each other and were so confused. Elon and Fifer had to figure out what was going on and get to the bottom of this really silly weather. So they looked around and didn't see anything in the front yard, and they went to the backyard where they had saw that kite being flown before. And there, in the corner, they spotted that mischievous Booga Buggie with a really strange-looking machine. And he kept turning that dial, click, 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 and the weather would change. And it was getting crazy. It would rain and then be sunny, and then it would hail, snow would come, and then it would be windy and blow everything away again. The weather was just going super crazy. And so they put 2 and 2 together, and they realized that it must be Booga Buggie with his wacky weather machine making everything super silly. And then, all of a sudden, boop, 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 the weather changing stopped. Booga Buggie was still trying to turn that dial, click, 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 but nothing was happening. He looked over on the side, and that battery sensor had shown that the batteries had run out. Oh no, all that changing of weather must have used up those batteries, thought Booga Buggie. So he crawled up that plum tree to his house to get some more batteries. And that's when Elon and Fifer looked at each other and said, "Ha, this is our time." They quickly ran as fast as they could, grabbed that weather machine, and they snuck back into their house. When they were safe inside, they grabbed some extra batteries, plopped them into the weather machine, and tried it out. Click, click, click. Sun mode. It's really sunny and hot outside. This is perfect. All right, this is a really cool machine, they thought. Meanwhile, Booga Buggie was crawling back down that plum tree and was so surprised. Where did my weather machine go? Oh no! Elon and Fifer were able to keep that weather machine hidden from Booga Buggie and even hidden from their parents. So Fifer and Booga Buggie could change the weather to be whatever they wanted it to be, and it was so amazing. Whenever they wanted a snow day where they didn't have to go to school, they just switched the mode to snow, and whenever they wanted to go to the beach and have fun under the sun, they switched the mode to sun mode. And Booga Buggie had always wondered where his weather machine went, but the weather changed so often now that he didn't think he needed it anymore. So he was happy just to enjoy whatever weather was outside. Hey, thanks for listening to another Booga Buggie Kids Stories episode, where Booga Buggie builds a wacky weather machine that Fifer and Elon end up keeping. Well, please give a rating or review wherever you listen to podcasts, and stick around for another episode. Bye for now.